Good afternoon to you. Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com, here with your Hurricane Outlook and discussion for Wednesday, the 13th of July, 2016. The Atlantic Basin, very quiet, nothing expected over the next 48 hours, and that also extends out to the 120-hour time frame. Again, this time of year, very inactive in the Atlantic, climatologically speaking, so no real surprises here. In the eastern Pacific, things are staying busy. We now have Hurricane Darby, well off the coast of Mexico. There's the Baja Peninsula there, and this is a good distance away to the south and west, and the forecast track is going to keep this moving to the west-northwest out over the open Pacific, so no problems there. And even if this were to make it as far to the west as Hawaii over here, there's Darby there. This is the leftovers of Celia dying away over the cooler, more stable air mass above the cooler waters of the eastern Pacific. But here's Darby, and even if this were to make a beeline towards Hawaii, let's just say for the sake of argument that it would more than likely be very weak by the time it got there, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. But again, it's something we'll keep an eye on because it is out there. You notice too, we have Celia here, Darby here, and then another system trying to develop off the coast of Mexico again, probably going to move across this same general area. This is the track forecast group of models. Really nice site here from the NCAR RAL site that I like to use from time to time. Give credit where credit is due. And you can see a pretty good clustering of models here indicating a west-northwest track for Darby. Just kind of pointing out the obvious, the intensity. Again, this is what I was talking about. Even beyond the 5-day time frame here, the intensity is going to go down over time because Darby would be moving into cooler waters, a less favorable environment overall thermodynamically, and therefore it wouldn't be that strong if it made it to Hawaii anyway. One thing these different tropical storms and hurricanes have done in the eastern Pacific, they have taken some of the heat out, and you can see that a little bit here. This will update again tomorrow. This is current as of the 11th. It updates every Monday and Thursday, and you can see right through here a little bit of a cooling swath. But this map from the very talented Levi Cowan at tropicaltidbits.com shows the change over the last 7 days, and you can clearly see that swath of cooler water. These tropical cyclones come along, they churn the water up, they take that upper ocean heat content out, and there you go. So that has definitely had an effect on this track that these have followed one after the other. And that could be interesting as we get later into the season if this does not recover. If this area is cooler than, say, this area, and this is the 7-day change. This is not your anomaly over, the 30-year norm or 14-year norm or whatever. This is just a snapshot of the last 7 days. And again, if you have an imbalance here or a contrast where this area were to be warmer than this, well, then that can make things interesting and not in a good way in August and September, but we'll worry about that then. I really like this. This is from the University of Wisconsin, the total precipitable water, and you can see there is Celia dying out over the cooler waters. There's Darby starting to strengthen, or maybe I have it wrong. Maybe that's the leftovers of Celia. Back up, Mark. Start over. See, I told you it was hot. This would be the leftovers of Bloss over here. This is Celia. This is Darby, rolling along right there. Or no, wait, come on, right there. And then this is the next one trying to form. There's too many of them. I can't keep up. But what I wanted to show here, all of my confusion notwithstanding, is look at this deep moisture plume sitting in here. Lots of energy in the upper levels of the atmosphere, conducive. Nice rising motion going on. The air is not sinking. It's just a parade of these systems, one after the other. But again, there's Bloss, there's Celia, Darby, and then this next system. All four of these generally tracking over the same area will start to take that heat out of the eastern Pacific, and things will probably change just in time for August and September when the Atlantic normally comes to life. So there you go. One thing I wanted to point out, this is very interesting to me, looking at sea surface temperatures off the East Coast. Look right in here. It's not very large, but there is a closed off isotherm, an area of equal temperature, and that is the 29 degrees Celsius isotherm. See, there's 29 Celsius there. And there's another one there, parts of the Pamlico Sound, 29 and 30C. And look how far north this is. This is 36 degrees latitude right here. So this is getting close to almost 37 degrees north, where you have 29 degrees Celsius water, and that is not too far, geographically speaking. And if you go on up and look at the contrast here, the gradient, the temperature gradient, if you will, there's the north wall of the Gulf Stream, and that's not too terribly far south of Long Island. So as we get into August and September, it'll be interesting to see how far that 26-degree isotherm comes up. Does it expand like that? You know, how close does it get to New England? It won't matter if there's no hurricanes, but when you have this kind of water temperature, and this will change, the Gulf Stream's always moving, but this starts to really kind of raise some eyebrows that if, a big if, just saying if, you were to run something up the East Coast into New England like that, as an example, yeah, you got a lot of warm water for that to take advantage of, and this is going to start to matter in the next several weeks to couple of months. So just wanted to point it out, not trying to scare anybody, but you have to be aware of what could happen in order to prepare for what may eventually come, and if not, then hey, at least you were ready. And then, of course, nothing happening in the near future. The Saharan air layer definitely dominating right now. You see some of these pinks in here. Probably should draw over it with yellow. Very active easterly jet coming out here. Energy coming off Africa. And not really in the tropical wave variety just yet. But again, it's July the 13th. We're not quite to the middle part of the month. And this is when things are supposed to be pretty inactive, very comparable to June and November. Believe it or not, this part of the hurricane season, in terms of the amount of storms and hurricanes that have developed over time, this is a pretty quiet period. And that's good, because I think it's going to be busy in August and September. So we shall see, right? Have a good rest of your Wednesday. Thanks as always for tuning in. I am Mark Sudduth for HurricaneTrack.com. I'll be back again on Friday.